Well, peace, peace, peace. Welcome to Movie Understandings, and I'm Brother Low, and I'm back in HD. I am back in HD. Yeah. One second. Had to get my notes. Okay, there we go. So today, all right, peace of did. Um, Today we are talking about the movie His House. And actually, this was an interesting movie. I have to say it like that because it was like, my name is Precious. Okay, but it was like a fable within a fable, if that makes sense. But it was, it's a horror film. You know what I'm talking about? But it's a good horror film, and I say that just because, with horror movies, the the issue in them is never solved. Scream 1, 2, 3, 4. Nightmare on Elm Street. And whatnot. Freddy always comes back. Jason always comes back. You know. But here, I, the problem gets solved, or the issue is solved, right? You know, even if you have to go through something or horror, the issue is solved, right? So, with this movie, we see well, we see a family. We're introduced to a family um, that's from the Sudan, and they're part of the Dinka tribe, which is the Dinka tribe in South Sudan, and they're known for um, being pastoralists. I'll say it like that. They deal with cattle. You know, and they're very good at it. You know what I'm talking about? And not only that, they're they're also known for being very tall. That the women and the men. One famous person that was of the Dinka is Manu Bo. You know what I'm saying? He was in the NBA, and he was the tallest person in the NBA for a long time, right? But peace, chief. Um, yeah, see, we in HD, right? Yeah, had to get that new, that new laptop. So we got Windows 11 and everything, we. So yeah, we had to come with it. But yeah, so and South Sudan. And for those that don't know, Sudan is in the continent of so-called Africa, but it's below Egypt, right? Down below Egypt, and peace, Sister Sherla. Um, it's a very interesting, country based on its history and ancient history. That's where the Kushites are. You know, and Merowe, and the city of Merowe, and things of that nature. This was an interesting movie that dealt with the Sudan because I remember being in college, and I went to a lecture held by a Sudanese gentleman, me and my Baba, right? And we went to listen to this, guy from Sudan, and he was talking about how he was a slave for, an Arab family. you know. And it was a very interesting lecture. And I can remember my Bob asked me, so what you think? And I was like, well, he a tall, lanky Cushite. That's the first part I thought about in my mind, because in my head, and that's why I just said, because I was like, I was looking for the facial recognition. Oh, so that's what they look like. You know. So it's like, oh, they tall and lanky. No wonder why, the comedians always, went to them to be the generals. The East Hall guys, of course. You know. So and he gave his story, and whatnot. And if you know something about Sudan, it usually has that civil strife between Arabs and Christians, Sudanese, and it was a very interesting story, you know. But you sort of see that play out in this movie, right? So you see this family, they get out on this boat, and something happens with the boat, because it's like, a little power speeder and a bunch of people on it, like you see, when people, from the Caribbean, well, not from the Caribbean, but people immigrate, from like Cuba and Puerto Rico on the boats, and they go to Florida, right? It's the same thing, but something happens, and you see the little girl drown. That's supposed to be like the daughter, but you see, basically the husband and wife, which is Ball and Real. Um, they survive, and they make it to basically detention or immigration for England or Great Britain, right? And here's one of those movies where it's sort of like, um, yeah, what you say, like, share, subscribe. Look, and his emojis are dollar signs. We do like the money that jiggles, but we will prefer the money that folds. you know, we don't do that here, but yeah. But they immigrate to Great Britain, but then basically detention, and you see them talking to basically immigration for Britain, and they say, "Oh, we're releasing you on bail, like they're prisoners, right?" That's right, Chief. Chief needs his money. Get the money. You know what I'm talking about? Players do need their dang old money. You know what I'm talking about? That's all this is. But sorry. Anyway, back on topic. So, well, Ball and Real, Major, right? They're able to be released, but with certain conditions. And then you hear all the conditions that they have, right? Just to immigrate. But I'll say this about the start of this film. When they were on a boat and whatnot, and they have gone through this they've gone through this traumatic event. What it made me think of the most, at least from my own perspective, was basically the mile for the middle passage, but in a different circumstance. But you could sort of get that feel like, oh, so that's pretty much what's it like, but what it ain't like. So that's what I thought about. And but they have these conditions, and they say yes to all those conditions. And so they are going to this house, which is, if you look at the neighborhood, it looked like something. Look, it's the projects, but Europeanized projects, right? And they ain't nothing but white folks apparently. Yeah. Hey, that's what it is. You know what I'm talking about? But they in the projects, they in the hood. But the white hood, right? It's funny. And you know, the house is basically dilapidated and it ain't even clean. These immigration didn't do nothing. They didn't clean it. They was like, oh, but look at it. This is bigger than my house. Well, the lights didn't work. Oh, we'll fix that. They worse than American supers. What I'm talking about? It was like, what's wrong with y'all? But yeah, so they in this poor right project neighborhood, you know, surrounded by white folks, and you know, um, you see them, at first you see them in the house and happy to be there, like we can make a life here, we can do this, we can raise a family, what I'm saying? But you can still see the trauma that they go through, and then all of a sudden, strange things happen in the house, strange sounds and that's coming from the wall. And you can see that it sets off basically Bo's PTSD, you know what I'm saying? Because he starts covering his ears and whatnot. And then he goes over to the hole in the wall. When I saw that, of course, when I saw the hole in the wall, I thought, dang on song, let's go, baby, to the hole in the wall. But yeah, right. It just popped in my head. Strange things just pop in your head when you watch movies, and that's the first thing that they blues song. Anyway, but he goes to the wall and he looks at the wall for a minute and feels around in it, and then all of a sudden a bird flies out of the wall, a crow. And what I thought about was like bird in the house, there's a old superstition I know that if there's a bird in the house, somebody about to die. I never forgot that old superstition. Because I remember a bird was in my grandmother's house. They was like, "Hurry up and get that bird out of there." you know. So yeah. Um. So the bird flies out and whatnot, and then you see um Bo, he walks around, basically the neighborhood and whatnot. And then he goes basically to a church, Protestant church, as you can see. And they say, oh, you're one of the refugees, huh? Well, come on in. We got something for you. Now, they don't look friendly, but um, with football, aka soccer for us. But he watches a football game, and it's Stoke City. You know what I'm saying? you know, um, they're not in the Premier League. They should be like in League Two. Remember, serves me correct. But they sometimes they make it, sometimes they don't. But he's watching them, and he's seeing the other men, and they're singing, singing the chants, and he goes and sing with them, like, and then they look at him and they start singing with him, like, hey, I'm one of you too, I know the song too, I know the chant too, and he uh, tells Rhea all about it, and she's like, so you sung with a bunch of grown men, this this vulgar song, about Peter Crouch, but football player, but it is what it is. She didn't get it, But yeah. And so after that, one thing you see and whatnot, you see wallpaper, the next night, and it peels down, and at the hole in the wall, right? There's many holes at the walls, and you see Bo, at night he's pulling down rope, with seaweed on it, foreshadow, of what's going on, and then you see, a shadowy figure, and behind him, and things of that nature, and but it's all an illusion, in a sense, But then you see Bo, the hole in the wall wasn't really there, but now he's scraping, the wallpaper off to basically find the hole in the wall, you know. And you also after that you see Real. Um, she finally goes outside the house, but she gets lost, and then she meets some melon dominant kids, you know, and she asks them, can you help me get to Church Street? And basically they make fun of her, being from Africa and whatnot, and they make fun of her accent, and they be like, "Oh, only English around here, darling," And I was like, when you see that scene, it's like, see that engine. It's not just here. It's over there too. It's over there too, and they play, and like their parents come from the same place. And they act like that. So it just ain't us, but it is what it is, right? But they make fun of her, and she walks off, but she finds, the hospital that she goes to, and she's being checked out, which is part of the conditions, what I'm saying, of immigration, and then she tells her about, her tribal scars, what I'm saying, which Dinka do have, and she tells how there was warring tribes, and but her scarification, she had scars on from both tribes, basically trying to be a shadow, and basically saying that she belongs to nowhere or neither in that sense. And so she tells her about the tribes, and then she tells her about the daughter that she lost, and things like that. And it shocks um, the white nurse. She's just like, oh, because she don't know, but yeah, but culture shock, culture shock. But here you have this melon dominant woman, and you can tell that she's been through some things, the destabilization of our own country and through civil wars or tribal wars, and that scar is there, and she's basically a warrior. Well, that's not really a word, but she's basically a warrior in that sense, where she's gone through um, conflict, and it leaves a marking on her, that she has nothing, she doesn't forget, you know. So after that, we see when she gets home, you know, uh, she starts to hear voices, and then Peach rolls off the table, and one of it goes into the wall, and it says, "Come to me," from the wall, and she just looks at the wall. You know what I'm saying? But she knows what it means. One thing I liked about this movie is the wisdom, or the wisdom for woman, how it plays very a significant role, because Real is not only the wisdom, but she's also playing her role as the reporter. If you pay attention, she's reporting everything. So basically, she reports, and she knows the issue, and so she reports to her head, and whatnot. You see that, but that was very interesting to me, how she was mainly the reporter, um, and the wisdom, and the wisdom, but she was the reporter of everything, right? And so you they have dinner on the floor, which is very um part of the part of the culture. And then here you see Bo, he hands her, a fork, kitchen utensils, where she's used, in their culture, she's used to eating with her hands, but he, has a fork, kitchen utensils, and then he just starts eating like, she's like, all I taste is metal. Like, you get used to it. Already you can see that, Bo is already assimilating or trying to integrate, with the dominant culture in Britain, you know what I'm saying? Or the dominant European culture in Britain, you know what I'm saying? And, he says, they give you a chance here. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden you see this is where basically Ria reports, you know, but she does in a way where she tells a story about an old man who was supposed to be honorable, but then he becomes a thief, he becomes a thief, and he steals from people, but he stole from a man from the river who was in a peth, which is a night witch. And what he didn't know was that, once he stole from the Apeth followed him, and whatnot. And so she reports it as something that's foreshadowing of something to come, you know what I'm saying? Because she knows that that's what's followed them. So she already knows the problem just like that. Whereas Bo doesn't know the problem, but she does, right? And she's reporting the problem. I've heard that metals can mess up the chemical makeup of the food. Mm-hmm. So, she says, that an appeal from the ocean has followed them. And she tells, that it wants them to repay their debt, and it will guide them back, to their daughter, which is Nyanga. And so Bo, he says, there's no witch, he instantly dismisses it, right? There's no witch. But, later that night, Bo sees the Apeth. And so Bo takes, the old belongings that they, basically had, basically what they came from, back home, and he burns them, saying, "We've been marked." You know what I'm saying? And he even burns the necklace that Nyangak had, that Rial wears, and he burnt that too. Now for somebody that don't believe that there was a witch or anything like that, he sure knows. Oh, we gonna burn this, because we've been marked, But when Rial reports this, the first thing I thought was, okay, what did y'all do? Whereas usually in horror, it's something that, at least in the westernized sense, the being always preys upon the so-called innocent ones. We'll just say it like that. You see that in horror, like, they go into a house, or whatever, and all of a sudden, you have this being prey upon you, and you don't even know why, Then you have, a pretty little white girl falls down the stairs and gets got. But yeah, but here you have a so-called supernatural being preying upon them, and instantly it's not because they're innocent, it's because they've done something that they weren't supposed to do, and ultimately it's something from their own culture that they know about, but it preys upon them because they did something that they ain't spoke of yet, but they done something, and all she was pointing is saying that all is want is it to repay their debt because they did something, and that's already sort of like giving you an opportunity to rectify this, without no repercussions thus far. All you got to do is pay your debt, pay what you owe. But that doesn't happen, He is trying to wipe out and forget the old ways, in every way he can, in living and in home wisdom. Yeah, he's trying to forget all of that, and completely assimilate. or completely surrender. You know what I'm saying? He basically completely surrendering, in that sense. So yeah. And so after that, um you see them at the table eating. Whereas before they, basically sat down on the floor and they slept on the floor. Now you see them sleeping in beds. And now you see them eating at the table on chairs and things like that. Yeah, that won't save them. You know, it's because she, with this movie, like what you did to them, what the TV show them, when you said shoulda went to Watts, with this one, in my head, you were saying shoulda went to Brixton, because this is in London. And Brixton is apparently where all the black people, all the better rich people are, right? At least in London, shoulda went to Brixton, Liverpool, Birmingham, wherever they are. But should have went to Brixton. I don't know where y'all is, but y'all should have went to Brixton. I don't know why y'all there. But anyway, so as they sit and eat at the table, right? Real says, we're not like them, and here you have Bo saying, we can be, like I say, he's already surrendered, but she already sees that we're not like them. And like I say, it sort of reminds you, at least in personal experience or ancestral personal experience, of being in the Middle Passage, where you see these Europeans and you live among them, and then all of a sudden you make the observation that we're not like them. They're weird. Because you got the white lady, next door that looks in at her window. Now, me personally, I thought she wanted the Mandingo, but the way she was just looking with the cat, always that bowl. Every time I was like, I was like, we got one of them. She going. She wants it. Just like in the movie Mandingo. But yeah, she wants the Mandingo. But it definitely had that attitude when watching. Yeah, see. But already he's trying to assimilate and dress and everything. Well, you don't see that with Rial. She still wears pretty, for the most part, wears her hair covered, and her hair's braided in, the cultural sense and whatnot. And you see Bo eating alone, and all of a sudden you see the kitchen change, and he's walking on water, and he looks down, and it's dead bodies in the water. Peace, brother Antonio. Peace, Sham. And so, then the bodies, basically come out and grab at him. Like I said, the pair followed them and comes from the ocean. And so, he realized that it's a nightmare. But you see, basically the appeal for the ghost that followed the appeal is in the house, and they start to attack Bo, which also shows that Bo is the main perpetrator of the crime. You know what I'm saying? He's the main perpetrator of the crime. At first I thought this movie had an agenda. I was like, yeah, here we go. Here comes the big black man. He's about to be the villain, but he's the main perpetrator of the crime that happened. So that, of course, they're going to attack him for Great Britain, and he wants to move out of the house. And then you have the housing agents, saying, "Oh, you're lucky to be here. You're biting the hand that feeds you." And and once again they say, "Man, that house is bigger than my house." And it's like, well, why don't y'all live in a white ghetto? But hey, it is what it is. But he's like, "Man, we gotta move. And we'll do anything to move." And so, housing agents, go out to see the house, and they see that there's holes in the walls, and the wallpaper is scraped off and things of that nature, and you know um you have the agent tells him, stick with it, stick it out, that shows the type of man you are. Like, who is this, but that's what that's what he says to him, right? And they look at the state of the house, and whereas Bo does not tell them what's really going on, you have Riel, in her cultural garments, we'll say it like that, and she tells him, "Oh, there's a witch in the house," but he don't want to say it. But I'm gonna say it, And she tells him what's really going on. But then Riel tells Bo that she's going back, which means she's going back to Sudan, and you you see how he's like, no, you can't go back, we're not going back. So he does everything he can to keep her from going back. So he changes the locks on the doors, and smashes the window so she can't get out. And so you hear the pef calling Bo, and he calls him a thief. You know what I'm saying? And that he stole a life that wasn't his. you know you should have stayed home. I can't say that, Sister Kashia, because if your home is a war zone, you know, should you have stayed home? I don't know. I can't say it, but if you in a war torn country and you say, you should stay home. Yeah, if I stay home, they're gonna kill me. I'm gonna get killed. I, you gotta take your chances. But true home, would have had them dead. Yeah. Exactly. So that's the issue, you know. But that Pep calls him a thief, you know, and he says, he calls him to take his own life, for his daughter. And then and then Bo realized, well, why you want me to kill myself with this knife, which is a kitchen knife, but it's like sacred or whatever, even though it's a kitchen knife. So why you want me to kill myself? You know what I'm saying? And then he, puts his hand in the fire. He's like, "Oh, I see. You can't touch me. You can't touch me. Ha 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 ha. Well, I ain't doing it." But he doesn't do it. And so you see Riel trying to escape, and as she escapes and gets outside, then she sees her mother in like a school, um, but school on the continent. You know, you know about the architecture, but she sees some of them, the women basically of her tribe, and things, and they sing and whatnot and all these things, but then she realized it's basically an illusion or a dream. But she asks the Apef, because that's really the Apef is the old woman, that's basically looks like the matriarch of the whole group. But she asks, the woman, where's her daughter or whatever. And then you see a flashback of them play out, of them in Sudan and her in the actual like classroom, and ain't nothing but dead women in there, shot, and you can see Real, she's distraught, and she doesn't, she can't function. She doesn't even talk. She's like a catatonic in this sense. And then you see Bo gets her out of that classroom, and then they run, and then they hide from the Warren tribe that's trying to kill everybody. And then you see they get to basically the bus stop, and the bus is taking on people. But it's like Titanic, basically only women and children, it seems like. And so what Bo does is he snatches a child, which is Nyanga, and says, "Here's a child," and says, "Please." And then well, him, the child, and Rio, they're able to get passage on the bus. But as the bus is driving away, you see Nyangak's real mother running to get her daughter, and you hear Nyanga, calling out for her mother. And then already you could see that, the trucks, with, militants, shooting people, have come, and they just shooting people left and right, you know. And so as her mother is running to catch the bus, which she doesn't catch, you know, you see that happen. And then you see the stages of them getting on, basically getting on the boat, and crossing the sea. As they say, we crossed the sea. Now, you don't know if they crossing the Red Sea or the Mediterranean. Now, the Mediterranean is much longer, but in my estimate, I would say the Red Sea, because it's shorter distance, you know. But who knows, right? Um, but like I say, you still see something happens. Um, on the boat, and then you see Nyangak. She drowns. Bo doesn't save her. He saves Real. So he doesn't save the girl. She drowns, and he pulls her on the raft. You know, basically a life raft. You know, and that plays out. And the Pef said, but in order to bring her back, you got to kill Bo. But I can bring her back. You know what I'm saying? Here you have, this spirit, whatever, is, already making a deal. Like, he's not, it's like everything that pretty much led up to this point, all the horror in the film is just really a tactic to just really get you to make a deal. Like, I can bring it back if you do this. It doesn't have to be this way. It's real mafia like, in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, you pay, you don't pay protection, to, like, the mob, and then they rough up your dago store and whatnot, and then they have you thinking over, then you end up paying protection. It's all like that. It's very smart, very intelligent. The Pep says, I can bring it back. It's in my power to do. And he knows that and whatnot. But he says, you got to kill Bo. A life for a life. You know what I'm saying? In that sense. And so, Bo relents in a sense. And he cuts his flesh, with the knife, to bring Younger back, and basically to bring the Apef to come get him. And he tells, Real to leave, leave, go. And the Apef comes from Bo, and it starts to basically, it looks like, insert himself. The Apef looks like he's trying to insert himself in his skin, in his flesh, right? And as Real leaves the room, you know what I'm saying, and she doesn't look. It's sort of like, Sodom and Gomorrah when Lot leaves, you know what I'm saying, and he's told, don't look back. He doesn't look back, but his wife does. She turns into a pillar of salt. But here you have Real, listen to Bo scream and whatnot, but she doesn't look back, and then all of a sudden she feels the hand of Myungak, holding her hand. And then she's, basically put back into a flashback at that moment. And then she makes a choice. And the choice she makes is to slit the Apef's throat. And bam, hey, who says, a woman can't save a man? She saves her man. That's something you don't see in a lot of movies. She got the knife and just cut that. Gave him a smile around his neck. you know, but she saves a man. you know, it is what it is, but she saves him. And so after that, right, housing comes back to the house and see, the walls that had holes in them are being replastered and whatnot. And so Mark, the housing agent, he says, "Well, um, what happened to the witch?" What I'm saying, and the rats and all of that. And you have both saying, "Well, Real killed them." Like real gangster, and and says, I embellished about the rats and whatnot, and talks about the spirits. She's like, well, the spirits come with you, but you learn to live with them. Basically, is what he says, and then you see, as they leave, the housing agents leave because they busy taking pictures and whatnot, and then you have, Real and Bo say, "This is our home now." You know, basically claiming ownership of this place. And then you see Nyangak, and they look at her, but then you see a bunch of ghosts. Basically look like the ghosts that were probably all, how should I say this? Probably lived in that house before them. Not really sure because they were, you know, people of many melanated hues, melanin dominated hues, put it like that. So, but they're all in the house with them, and they basically learn to live with them, you know, and everything's okay. And so, you see Real and Bo hold hands and make it through. They survive. They survive the path, and that's the end. Basically that's the end. That's why, like I say, fable finna fable. But you see a couple go through the issue. You know what I'm saying? At first, usually, you see people, they go through things, they never blame themselves, because of their ego. And they think, we've been marked or we've been cursed. And like I say, they don't take accountability for what they've done. And here in this movie, you have a couple take accountability for what they did. They stole a life to save themselves. You know what I'm saying? And you see basically the appeal be the revenge or their mediator or retributor um, of this issue. But it's not all fire and brimstones in a sense. It's, yeah, I'm gonna scare you. You know what I'm saying? I'm a terrorize you to basically bring you back to I guess your first mind, in a sense, where you do the right thing, where you do a righteous thing and give back what you owe, which is a life. You know what I'm saying? And in that sense. And that's what's good about this movie. You know what I'm saying? Where it's not like, oh, the path is scaring us and it's all was gonna come back. No, it did what it's supposed to do, even though you slit its throat, but you rectify the problem by acknowledging what you've done and basically attaining forgiveness from the little girl that you stole from her mother and left to drown. So you appease that probably that vengeful spirit, by asking it what did it want, and knowing what it wanted, and even find a solution, um in a sense where you don't give it what it actually wants, but you balance the books in a sense. You know what I'm saying? You balance the books where you don't have to give up your pound of flesh, you know, but you get forgiveness, you know what I'm saying, from that spirit. So this, like I say, it was very interesting and cool. You know what I'm saying? So I enjoyed it, man. You know what I'm talking about, and it was very interesting. And I have to give it to Sister Masha. You know me. I don't do the dang on scary movie thing, but I don't do the scary movie thing. But Sister Masha been been really good with the horror movie selection. Because if this was a typical horror movie, I'm like, why y'all want me to do this? But I'm like, there's an interesting lesson from this. Oh, this is like a fable. Interesting. Let's delve deeper. So of course you do, Ia Kashia. I mean, not Ia Kashia, Sister Kashia. I mean, shoot, chaos. You see horror movies as chaos, so of course you like. Of course, a lot of girls like it. It's like, and why am I watching this? I'm tired of seeing the little white girl, the pretty little white girl, fall all day on time, like she don't know what to do. I don't, me personally, but that's why I quit watching them, because I was like, man, this is dumb. Why are we watching this again? But so far the scary movies have been very interesting, in the messages, at least. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. So anyway, next strong, right? Next strong, we are doing Avatar. Not Avatar: The Last Airbender for some of us, that's too long of a series, and the actual movie, the live action movie, is pitiful. It's pitiful. But we're doing Avatar, you know, and that's going to be interesting and whatnot. You know, can't wait for it. Also for those that don't know, but of course I do. The new Doom comes out tomorrow, and bruh, I'll be honest, don't nobody bother me for like the whole weekend, because I'm gonna be on that one. I might. Do I do? I don't know if I do it again, but I'm sure enough gonna watch it and critique. You know what I'm saying? So don't bother me. I'm just messing around. But we have that. We have Avatar next strong. Ooh, I've been saying next week, and I should have been saying next strong. See, but next strong, and then tomorrow we have Shema, and we're doing family, and that's going to be interesting. And yeah, you know what I'm saying. Gee, we know this. Dude is my ish too. You know what I'm talking about? I love it. You know what I'm saying? Red. Look, got the t-shirt, got the tattoos, got the t-shirt, got the tattoos, got the dang on movies, got the books, got the audiobooks, got the Kindles. Man, and they got the official Dune t-shirts. I'm gonna give me one of those. So we got a rep House of Trades, around these parts. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, here we go. Yeah, they better do right by it. It's well, they already gave Duncan Idaho too many lines. We already know that. But I mean, if you read the books, but yes, I've read every single book myself, Chief. That's why it's going to be very interesting how they do it. You know what I'm saying? And if they do it justice, I will say this: if they'll do it justice, if like here's the tall tale sign. If like in the movie you start liking Paul Atreides, but then like in the book, by you getting to like God Emperor, you totally dislike this dude. That's how you know if it's good. Because in the books, oh yeah, I was so Paul Atreides until I got to God Emperor Dune, and I was like, this, you know. But yeah, man, a lot of insight went in that series. lot of insight, man. So, and shoot, for a long time, all we had was, 1984, Doom with Sting, and Patrick Stewart. you know, that was the Doom movie for a long time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, in this SJW era, I'm sure they'll screw it up with some feminist rhetoric, but we'll never get around it. Yeah, they already made Leah a black woman, so yeah. I mean that it's Liette, you know, aka Dr. Kynes. They already made Dr. Kynes a black woman, so it's like, well, it is what it is. And then James is the black guy, and he gets, so I already know. So if you consider that spoilers, man, that is in the dang on takes, outtakes. Yeah, man. Yeah, we'll see. I was paying attention. I was really paying attention to the actors and everything. That's when I saw that James was melanin dominant. I was like, oh, here we go. I don't know. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you know. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting that their take on the Bene Gesserit and the Spacing Guild. You know what I'm talking about? Um, that I'm looking forward to. And I really don't have my hopes on the Fremen. I really don't. I mean, because if we want to call spade a spade, we all know that if you're in a hot climate, very hot desert world, people are melanated, but it's gonna be one of those. So, but it should be good for what it's worth. I mean, you know, but yeah, so that comes out tomorrow. So I'm ready, son. I'm ready. But before all of that, we gonna do Avatar, and that should be interesting just for the simple fact that Chief said something about Avatar that piqued my interest when he said it, and it's just an interesting movie to delve into, you know. Hot climate with blue eyes, exactly. Blue with in blue eyes, not just blue eyes, blue with in blue eyes. And their ancestral name is called the Zinsuni. It's like, bruh. It's like, really, bruh. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, they got blue within blue eyes, and they're in a high climate, and they have no pigmentation. It's like, huh? Weird. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. So that'll be interesting. So interesting. Let's see how that breaks down. But that is all the time that we have today. You know what I'm talking about? And we'll be back with Avatar, and shoot, give thanks to everybody. And give thanks to Shia for putting on Soul of the Game, because but anyway, Soul of the Game, right? Which, it was very interesting to me because I picked that movie just because, for those who don't know, historically, Jackie Robinson was not the best baseball player that they could have farmed, to go to the majors. But that's that's neither here nor there. But then, knowing baseball a little bit and going to baseball games, you know some of those players that were in the Negro leagues and went to the majors. Like for me, one person was Ernie Banks. He was in the Negro leagues, and then he was on the Chicago Cubs, and they call him Mr. Cubs. And I remember seeing him, going to the stadium, and him showing up. And I remember when he died and things of that nature. And, him and Ferguson Jenkins or Fergie Jenkins, and you know, both of them play for the Cubs. So of course I know. And how you have these phenomenal sportsmen, you can say, and they do things that you can't imitate in the majors. They break records and shoot, they break records before uh, white boys break records. You know what I'm talking about. Ain't nobody touching Josh Gibson records. 972, Babe Ruth can only do 700 and something. And that was breaking by Hank Aaron. And then who broke his record? Barry Bonds. It's like, bro. So yeah, it was just interesting. But yeah, so give thanks is just shit. But that's it. That's all I got. I'm done. So I will see y'all next strong, and give thanks, and have a good rest of your strong, and see you tomorrow for Shema Anu, and peace, everybody.